Hey everybody, this is Zangano from Zangano431.tumblr.com. This is my first commentary on this new channel. I'm going to do some new commentaries. I'm going to try and do them as often as possible. And to start off, we've got an awesome game up here in the corner. We've got ROOTdrewbie in the red Terran. He is from Canada. He is one of the leaders of Team Root. And a fellow Canuck, I can never not love someone like that. ROOTdrewbie's an awesome player, really good at his tank micro. And down here, we've got the Incan Warrior hailing from Peru. We've got fnaticFenix, great player as well. Really good on his harassment, very solid player. And, you know, he's an Incan. South America. I mean, I would support anybody from South America into esports just because, you know, you don't see it too often, and I can never turn that down. So here comes the, Terran music. Alright, so let me just, while they're starting off, you know, they're playing rather standard right now, we're going to talk a little bit about Xel'Naga Caverns. Xel'Naga Caverns is, of course, a fairly balanced map. It's considered one of the more balanced maps in the game, but this is a Terran versus Terran, so that doesn't really matter. And the interesting thing about the map that stands out, makes it interesting to play, is, of course, the flow of the map. It has two direct routes to each base, and two entrances into the natural, oh my, thanks McGowan, and a rock-based third expansion. So, how does this play out? Well, that means that a natural is very hard to defend, actually, but it's not impossible to defend. This part here is still choked off, so it's not like it's a completely wide-open expansion, but also this sort of dynamic, there's no real center. The center's a hole. So the whole flow of the map opens up in a way that is very solid. It's very interesting in a way that you can really open yourself up for counterattacks. And of course, to represent screplay.com, just because they provided the replay. This is, of course, from the MLG Columbus that just passed this weekend, one of the most epic tournaments I've ever seen. I went through the list, selected out all of my favorites, all my favorite players, and of course, I'm going to commentate them. And as you can see, we're starting off nothing really too cheesy. There's nothing going on that's standing out. Of course, orbital commands up for both sides, gas for both sides, which means we're probably not going to see a 2 racks, which is nice. Means that the game's going to start off a little bit slow. So factory going up for ROOTdrewbie, and a factory going up for Fenix. So they're going almost identical builds. Still neck and neck on food. And of course, not too much. Oh, second gas going down for ROOTdrewbie, while Fenix is not, so he's going to have a little bit more gas, obviously. And, yeah, for now, there's not a whole lot different. Another thing to point out is that MLG, they have these MLG edited maps, and on the bottom of the ramps, they have these little supply depots, and these supply depots essentially stop anybody from walling off the bottom of your ramp, which can be really annoying, especially if you're Zerg. So, got a little Marine walking around looking for bunkers, looking for SCVs that could build a bunker. You know, those kind of things. We got a tech lab going down for ROOTdrewbie on the commands. Sorry, that is not a command center. That is a factory, and it's going to be probably made for either siege tanks or to attach one onto a starport. But since there's no starport, I'm going to say siege tanks. And he's going to research siege. Oh, and he's going down here. Okay, so we are going to see a starport going down, very obviously. Terran is mostly about 3 major units, and the balance between them for all. It is Marines, siege tanks, and Vikings / medevacs. Down here, as you can see, a very similar build going down, but we're getting a reactor on the barracks, but a starport also going down, and a tech lab going on to the factory. But as you can see, his starport's way more ahead, so what he's probably going to do is he's going to switch these 2 buildings as soon as the tech lab is finished, and make a Banshee. Banshees can be used for harassment in a TVT. Usually getting invisibility is not as wise, but if you can do it, you can do a little bit of damage, gives you an opening to expand, puts you a little bit further ahead. Fairly good start, and as you can see, Fenix is building his natural expansion right now, so what we're probably going to see is when these Banshees move out, he's going to take this, turn into an orbital command, and land it in the natural to get himself a little bit ahead. As you can see, ROOTdrewbie is 43 and 43, which means he's sci-capped, and he's actually quite ahead of Fenix, mostly because Fenix opted for the reactor, which meant that the barracks was down for much longer than, say, the tech lab that he built. He's building a bunker here for defense, so he does know there's probably going to be a push coming out, ROOTdrewbie moving out with a few Marines and a Siege Tank and 1 Viking. The Viking is very important. He's doing a timing attack likely for when his Siege Tech finishes. When the Siege Tech finishes, he can use that Viking because Siege Tanks have longer range than their vision, actually, when they're in Siege mode, and he can probably do some damage up the cliff. ROOTdrewbie here, of course, he has a little SCV. Just for probably scouting or to build a bunker or whatnot, you know, for this early harassment. As you can see, the Viking giving vision up the ramp, trying to repair it, but the tanks are going to attack the SCVs. And he's going to see if he can kill that supply depot. But Phoenix is walled off, which is, I guess, the smartest thing you can do in such a situation like this. Let's see what ROOTdrewbie's plan is for that. I see the Banshee for Phoenix got completely shut down, the harassment completely shut down by ROOTdrewbie with the Viking. Obviously, ROOTdrewbie familiar with Phoenix's build here, and he's going to do an emergency pull-out shot. So we got the SCVs. The SCVs are going out to attack the Siege Tanks, blown up by the Siege Tanks, and the Siege Tank is going to go down, and he's going to have to retreat, meaning Phoenix can move out, but he is going to be behind, as you can probably see here. Woo, look at that. As you can see, minerals. Oh, that's... Okay, so... Look how awesome that is. So you see worker supply for ROOTdrewbie is ahead of Phoenix, and army supply is up for Phoenix, which means that obviously Phoenix has more army, but the harassment did kill a lot of SCVs, which is putting ROOTdrewbie way ahead. And as you can see, ROOTdrewbie is a little bit behind on the expansion, so he's going to have less workers. Currently, we've got 29 to 22 workers, which isn't a huge deal, actually. But the fact that he's got 2 mules going out right now means that there is a chance that he can get ahead. It all is probably going to depend upon who can do more effective harassment, who can take a third, etc., etc. You see we got another Banshee coming out, but this time it's on ROOTdrewbie's base. Also researching, or also making more tanks and a second Rax. Very common opening. As you can see, there's 2 Vikings here ready to play around looking for Banshees whenever they come out, or drops whenever they come out of Phoenix's base. Tanks going out, Siege Tech finally being researched for him. Phoenix and the there we go. He's a little bit side-cap there. He's making 2 Raxes, so we're going to see a lot more Marines on Phoenix's end. What is ROOTdrewbie going to do? He knows he's a little bit behind. He saw in the attack that the... Well, I don't know if he saw the command center, but he did get pushed back, so his contain did not work as planned. So he's got to think what's going to go on. Oh, we got an attack here. We've got a little bit of a harassment going on. These bottom of the ramp tanks, but all he's going to do is lose that one tank. Maybe he can kill the other one. No, he's going to back off, and that push is finished. But it does mean that the back and forth is finished, and now Phoenix is at the front of ROOTdrewbie's base. And as in TVT, you probably know that Terran spent a lot of time in front of the opposite person's base. Terran versus Terran I described as World War I in space, which means there's very slow, not much dynamic play. It's a lot of positioning and slowly crawling across the map to devour your enemy. So ROOTdrewbie is sort of in a rough spot. Even though he's ahead in supply, his natural came a bit later than Phoenix's, so we're going to have to see what Phoenix is going to do, or what ROOTdrewbie is going to do. But ROOTdrewbie does have... It looks like his plan is he's going to get the upgrades for his Marines. As you can see, the 2 barracks that he built have